Hey everybody, welcome on into Clayshare Con Day 5. I am Jessica Putnam-Phillips, the founder of Clayshare and Clayshare Con. So we are going to be doing what I call watercolor pottery because we're going to use water and color added to our pottery to make these beautifully decorated surfaces. So if you look, you can see this amazingly gorgeous egg tray. Yes, this is an egg tray. I do have a class. I made this one in 2019 and I forgot to carve my signature, so I just hand wrote it in with Underglaze before I fired it. But you can see the little bumps for all the eggs? Because you can't really see them very well on the front since I carved it like crazy. I will tell you, this piece took me 8 hours to hand carve. Don't do that to yourself. I'm going to show you how to do carving, but you don't have to get this crazy because this was a little over the top. And but you can make your own egg tray. You don't necessarily have to carve it. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. And you know, I have seen people use these for so many different things than eggs too. So anything that you need to have a little dimple of something resting in, you could use it for that. My children love deviled eggs, so we have deviled eggs or stuffed eggs a lot. Plus I have chickens, as we know, so egg tray for chickens. So this is what one looks like that is super carved. Here's another one that I did, a bird mug that I carved. And so basically I do my Mishima carving that I do, and after it's been carved and bisque fired, so here's the one we carved, I don't know what day anymore, Clayshare Con Day 1? What day is it? So we carved this, and this is ready to be bisque fired. After they are bisque fired, they come out and they look like a black and white drawing. So this here will look like this once it's bisqued. So this is greenware, this is bisqued. You can hear, ding, 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 ding. And so I've got a bunch of different ones. This one's got cherry blossoms. This is an abstract floral pattern. It's the same abstract floral pattern I do on my egg trays, well, on this egg tray. So it's the same design. And then I have this other one that I did with lots of swirlies and then a flower in the center. You love the bird mug. I did a whole series of bird mugs. Those of you who are my premium members and you were watching Wednesday's primetime broadcast for you, our private broadcast, you know a bird mug. How cool that would be for March, right? So, you know, you can make this as complicated or simple as you want. We went ahead and did this carving, right? And so after this is fired, bisque fired, we now have a surface we can work on and paint on. And the reason we're going to add our color now is we couldn't do it here because we used wax. And I wouldn't want to. I really want to be able to add the color at this stage. And I'm not going with a glaze. You could use Mako Stroke and Coats. You could use other products. I use Speedball Underglaze because I've been using Speedball Underglaze for 6 or 7 years now. I know what the results are going to look like. I put 8 hours of my life carving. I want to make sure that I'm using a product I know and I'm very familiar with. I'm never going to take a product I've never used before and put it on something I've spent so many hours working on. So that's why I stick with Speedball. I know their colors, I know they're really reliable, so I stay with them. So you made an egg tray and you gave it to your cousin. Fabulous, because he makes the best deviled eggs. Oh, it's nice when somebody else will make you your deviled eggs. So we have a palette, we've got some Speedball Underglazes. I'm just going to show you a color wheel that I've made of Speedball Underglazes. This right here is my favorite 24 Speedball Underglazes. And a few people have asked me for my favorite Stroke and Coats, my favorite Amico glazes. My favorite Speedball glazes is this right here. You could take a screenshot or I'll type a list up and give that to you later. But they are soft pink, pink, carmine red, flame red, mandarin orange, orange, peach, melon, saffron yellow, yellow, chartreuse, avocado, leaf green, pine green, aqua, teal, sea blue, turquoise, blue frost, royal blue, royal purple, amethyst, and purple. That's it. That's all. And black. I didn't put black on here, but black goes without saying. Whew. Speedball underglazes are awesome. I agree. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get yellow. So I'm going to start with just Speedball yellow. So I'll lay out my palette kind of like I do if I was going to paint watercolors. So we'll switch to the overhead. Now my yellow is already really watery. And I'm going to water these down. I don't want them to be thick. I really want a nice watery surface because I want to put these on in layers and build up depth. I got brand new jars. Very excited. I have been using the same jar of chartreuse for 5 years. That's how long it takes for me to use an underglaze because I don't use a lot with this technique. So we'll put a little bit in there. And so you just fill up. So when I sign up for premium membership for the year, starting when you sign up or in the calendar, it's when you sign up. It's when you sign up and it just renews on the year if you do a year, or you can do monthly, but it's not calendar. Nope, it's not calendar based. It's from when you sign up. So it's not like, here we are. You get a full year of from when you signed up, but it's not like, oh, you signed up in February, you've lost some. Not at all. You've not lost anything. You get everything. I would never do that. That would be a horrible thing. Have I tried the Mako Fundamentals Underglaze? I have used some of them, yes. But again, I know these colors very well for me. I've been using them for so long that I would have to start all over to get to know another company's product. The price of these are so good and the quality is so good. I don't really need to go looking for something else. Although I will tell you, I need you to open this jar, it's too tight for me. I will tell you that the Mako brown is the best brown underglaze. Speedball's brown underglaze is, I hate it. I love Speedball. Speedball, I love you. I love you. I hate your brown glaze. I don't like it at all. Your brown underglaze is terrible. But the other colors are spectacular. So we're filling up our palette. We make messes sometimes. So the colors I'm using today, I'll tell you right now. I am using yellow, I am using chartreuse, I am using aqua, I am using turquoise, I am using red, I'm going to be grabbing, clean up my mess, melon, that's the orange, melon, so you notice they switched jars. The smaller jars were easier to pour from, but the bigger jars are better. Peach, my red made such a mess. Royal purple, see how some of them are really thick? You want to thin them down when they're thick like that. You don't have to take an underglaze and use it exactly as it comes to you. You can add water. Best decision you ever made. Learn more here than anywhere else. Woohoo! I'm glad you've been learning more from ClayShare. You know, when I was learning, there wasn't a ClayShare, sadly. I had to figure it all out on my own. And, you know, I did, obviously, because I'm still here doing it. But, oh, and pine will be the last one I grab for right now. I might grab royal blue, though, because that's a really good blue. And then pine green. Their pine green fires down to a nice army green. I really like it a lot. It's like a really good green. It's an earthy green. And it looks brighter. It does have a bit more brown once you put it on the pot. And then if I need more, I'll add more. My peach took up 2 slots. That's why I can't have royal blue. All right, well, if I need it, we'll get to it. So when I was learning, we didn't have, you know, YouTube. Can you believe we didn't have YouTube? There was nothing. You either learned in person from somebody or used books. That was it. There wasn't really any even videos out there. There was, I think the only one doing video and that was a little while after I started, was Bill Van Gilder, who is a fabulous potter. If you don't follow Bill Van Gilder, you should check him out. You like Amico's Velvet Teddy Bear Brown. I had a bad experience with that burning out on one of my soldier plates once. It sort of ruined it for me and ruined the piece. But so I never tried it again, but maybe it was just I had a bad batch. So I'm prepping the surface. This was a piece that I fired months ago. This has been sitting on the shelf for months. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start. And I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if I've got one where you can see. Maybe this one will show it. So I'll hold the brush and point it out. If you look right here, you can see that I have some yellow, very soft yellow, and then orange and gradients leading from the yellow to the orange, kind of like ombre, right? So we're kind of doing that in here. So I want to start with my lightest color first, and I'm going to go ahead and wherever I want to have yellow, I'm going to paint it in. And I'm going to grab, just a second, I'm grabbing my glasses. If you wear glasses, please wear them when you're working. That's a reminder to myself. Make sure I'm where you guys can see me. So I'm just going to put yellow, and if you go out of your line, you can use a Q-tip to scrub it clean, or you can do what I just did there, and I grabbed the side of my sponge and that wiped it. And because this is so watery, this right here, yes, these are carved. These are carved in my Mishima technique that we did when we did the modern Mishima tutorial the other day. They are carved and then inlaid, and then the excess is wiped back. And then we have this gorgeous surface, and you have texture on the surface because you can feel the lines, not only see them, but you feel them. So it has some dimension to it. And they're pretty fabulous. So I'll go all the way around a piece, and wherever I want yellow, I'll put the yellow in. And this will be a very light, watered down yellow though. So if you want a very intense color, this is not the technique. You can build it up, yes, and you could paint it straight on, but here's the thing. Underglazes are chalky, right? And they can opacify, right? They're opacifiers. They will obscure your carving if you go too heavy with them. So you need to keep your application light. So I'm just doing one, and that's why it's called watercolor pottery. Maybe put some yellow in here. So I'll work one color all the way around a piece. So you make the form, and then you put wax on it. Then you carve it. Honey, you need to watch my overhead. I'm moving off camera and it's not being seen. Unless you're on the side. What one are you using? What camera? Yeah. Okay. I thought you were on two. So you make it, you wax it, you carve it, then you inlay it, then you wipe away your inlay, then you bisque fire. And I bisque fired a cone 05. Then you do this technique to it, and then you glaze over it. I will use my clear 2167. Speedball has a great cone 5 clear glaze that is zinc free and works great. So if you don't want to make your own clear, you can try zinc free clear from Speedball. So we built this table. What varnish did we use? Kevin, we picked out a stain. What stain did we use on this countertop? Do you remember?
The stain is a gray varathane.
Gray varathane. I don't know at all who made it. I don't even know.
Varathane's the company.
Varathane is the company.
And then about 5 coats of their poly on top.
Okay, so the gray varathane for the color to get that gray, and then 5 coats of polyurethane on top. Can they hear you when you answer questions from me?
Usually I didn't mic on that time.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm repeating it and it's like, do I need to be? I decided to make this a brighter, yellower piece. I don't always use so much yellow, but today I'm feeling like spring. So what carvers did I use? These here were all carved with the Diamond Core Tool L3 Diamond Stylus tool. That is their small football, large football. So this swirly piece, this floral piece, my egg tray off to the side, everything, that's what I carve. It's easy to work with, it's easy to flow, it's easy to turn. Basically, it acts just like a pen. So if you draw with with pens, that carving tool is just like drawing. How long do I wait after applying the wax? I apply my wax and I don't carve it until the next day or a couple days later. I wax the pieces, then I sit them back on the shelf, covered very well with plastic because I want them to sit. And because each piece takes so much time to carve, I can only carve a few a day. So I'll throw like 8 pieces, but my hands will only, and most people, you know, your hands will only let you do so much work. So I'll carve them 1 or 2 at a time. That's looking pretty good. I'm just checking to make sure I didn't miss any of the leaves. So that's the yellow layer, and I did a lot of yellow. And so I'll cover them with plastic, and I'll come out and I'll carve a couple, and you know, the other ones I'm not carving, I keep covered up. I can have pots waiting to be carved for weeks. And so that when I'm ready to carve, I can just come out. And all my designs are freehand, yeah. They're just, I do a lot of drawing in my free time. I should laugh. I don't have any free time. I do a lot of drawing. and it reflects in my pottery. So you don't have to freehand your designs. You can use a stencil, you could use an image you like. And in my class on Mishima, I show you how to do that. So if you're not somebody who draws or feels you cannot draw well, I have drawing classes, drawing for potters, on ClayShare, so you can learn how to draw in a very simplistic manner that is just, you know, just so that you can have the confidence and begin doing basic drawing on your pottery, right? I show you in my Mishima class how you can use an image and trace it on the surface. So this is now chartreuse that I'm using, and I'm hoping to get this entire piece colored. It can take about an hour to color a piece. So we'll see if I can get this one done in time. Can this be done with black underglaze transfers? It can. Only difference being your underglaze transfer might smear, these won't. But yes, it can be done with underglaze transfers. Watercolor pottery, the idea is the water is what we're using with adding the color. I don't know if y'all missed, I tried to use my other pot as my water to clean my brush. That's not it. Missed that. And so this brush is a Sumi. You've seen me use this a lot over this past 5 days because I use it a lot in my studio. These brushes are my go-to. You can hold a lot of material in the tips, but they also come to a really nice point, so you can get into those little places. Oh, Linda, I'm glad my drawing classes helped your confidence. I'm so glad. That's why I do them. If you wax it, then do you have to remove the wax after you carved? So when you wax it while it's green before it's bisque fired. You see, then you bisque fire it, which the wax then burns away, so the wax is gone. And then we apply the underglaze like I am doing now. So the wax has burned away. So you don't have to remove the wax. It removes itself in the firing. And that's the way this process works. We don't add the color on greenware. We do it on the bisque. And I like it better on bisque. You know, you could carve without the wax and add your color then if you want to. But it's easier to wipe away any mistakes on this than it would be on greenware because I would mess up my design too, my carving. What Sumi brushes? This is a Stanislas. I bought 100 brushes from Dick Blick. They sometimes do like a teacher's pack, and I bought 100 of them from Dick Blick. Oh, I don't know. You have to look through my Instagram and see when I posted all my brushes that I ordered, and it was just a pack of, I don't think it even had a name. It wasn't a name brand, it was just whatever they were selling. Yeah.
Can you remind everyone of the water to underglaze ratio you're using there?
It depends on the color. Some colors you have to water down more than others because they're too intense. The ratio I'm using right about now is probably a 50-50 or 75 water, 25 color. It's really watered down. Really watered down. Some colors are crazy intense like the royal purple and royal blue. I water those down definitely, 75 water, 25 color. Again, my red is really thick. I'm probably going to water that down 10% color, 90 water because it's so thick. So it does vary depending on how the consistency of your underglaze is and the color. That can affect it too. So let's just see. Anything else I want chartreuse on, now is the time to do it. I want to put it in here. But do you see I'm making a bead of color almost and dragging it around. Here too. The discount code for Studio Pro, let's see if Kev can pull it up for you. Kev? On Clay Share, we got a comment. He's going to take care of you. He'll take care of that.
Yeah, you want to refresh that page. I fixed that link earlier. It takes you over to Clayscapes, and as long as you let them know in the comments that you're watching ClayShareCon, they will back out all of your discounts prior to charging your card.
So we have a really great question. If you want to use the watercolor effect with stroke and coats, would you water it down with a clear glaze? It won't work. It will be too thick. It won't absorb in the clay correctly. You can't water things down with glaze. You have to water it with water and then put a clear glaze on top. So yes, you can use stroke and coat, but you would need to go ahead and water your stroke and coat down. Now I'm going to put some turquoise into my chartreuse because these are completely mixable. I would water my stroke and coat down. I would use it for this part, for this technique, but then what I would do, see I need more water, and I can tell when I put it on the surface, that one was too thick. It really has to be like watercolor, like really watery. So some of these, like my chartreuse and my yellow, were already really watery, so they were 50-50. Some of the others are 80-20. It's really just a trial and error, is all I can say. There's no, because not, you know, the glazes are different consistency, the underglazes. And I think most people make their color either, like, it's hard. I'll see it way thick, and then I sometimes see it a little too thin. So you just got to practice with it a bit more, and you'll get it. Yeah, stroke and coat will work great watered down. I've used it on pieces before. It's a good product. It works fine. But you can't mix your stroke and coat with a glaze. That doesn't water it down. That won't work for the process. But yes, if you have stroke and coat, if you've bought some stroke and coats and you wonder if you can try this with it, yes, you can. All right, so that's turquoise there. This one will be turquoise. So you see how this can take hours to do, but the end results, you see how great they are. Can you do this on hand-built items? You sure can, and I have. This is hand-built. Let me pull this over. This right here is a hand-built piece. So yes, you can do it on hand-built forms. And here's a finished piece, by the way. So here you can see the color. Are you in the overhead?
I can go, yeah.
Go to the overhead. So here's a finished one right here. And it's, you know, you can see this was a hand-built egg tray from my class that I carved. It's just B-Mix. I used Laguna B-Mix 5 with no grog, carved it, and doing the exact same thing I'm doing right now to it. But, so I'm using the speedball, but you don't have to use speedball. What I'm trying to say is anything you can water down. You could probably water down a Celadon glaze. You could water that down, right? So you could use anything you can water down that will help you get a watery effect. So that was the turquoise. Now we're going to switch. We're going to go over here to the melon. We'll get a little melon, and I'm just going to, you see I dip just the tip in. So this is how I do it a lot. Honey, the overhead is not on me at all. I'm showing this stuff. Are you on, what camera are you on? Tell me.
I am on 2.
Okay, you're on 2. I'll go with 2. I just need to know what camera's on. So camera 2, we have 3 cameras, mind you. I have to know what camera we're using. So I'm just dipping it in the melon, but I'm wiping it off on the side of my palette right here. There's a little brush hair caught on it. Let me pull that off. And that's it. It's only mixed in the bristle here. And I'm going to go on the end, right here, of the yellow. So I'm going to have this lovely blushy color. Now Amy Williams is going to be doing a textured flowers workshop, and I believe she's going to probably do some painting techniques rather similar to what I'm doing right now. Not the exact same, but I believe they'll be similar. And she's going to be using Mako Stroke and Coats to do that. So this is Speedball Underglaze watered down. Yes, it is. And you use Amico Velvet, and when you try to water them down, they look streaky, but not before. So yeah, so some underglazes just don't water down well. I would test them and see how they work for you. If they're not working well, then I really would try to find another that you could use. That's why I really love the speedball. So now I'm in the pine green. We're going to do greens. And I'm dipping it a little bit in this puddle. You see how watery? It's like watercolor. So we'll put pine green. The other thing I like about this is I could mix black into this and it would make a tonal change. You know, it'd be the same shade. It would be the same pine green, but it would then have that black. And I will do that on pieces a lot. I do a lot of shading. But back to the question about the streakiness. Test them on other things to see. So do I let the underglazes dry in the paint palette, then use it again by wetting it? You could do that, yeah. Sometimes they do go streaky though. If you do that once they've dried out for some reason, they just don't rehydrate as well. So I'll cover this with plastic, but usually I use all my colors in a session. I try not to get too greedy with my color. Also, I rarely sit down and just color one pot. I will sit down and color pots for hours. So it won't be one vase. I'll do all the vases I have, and it'll basically be I start and I don't stop until I've got them all done, which can take the whole day. But yes, you could let them dry. They might be a little streaky. I would just put a little plastic wrap on it instead, and that would help. They also make these great little cups, and I got a set of them, like little storage cups for keeping your underglazes, and you could water them down in there and store them in there, watered down, and work out of there too. I haven't even unpacked the box of it. Can you do this with the interactive pigments from Georgie's? Yeah, I mean, you can do this with anything, but you won't get the same colors. But the technique, of course, yeah. I mean, it's a technique where we're brushing on colors to fill in carved areas, right? So you can use whatever you want. And sometimes I go back over, and every time I paint back over, I'm getting more color. Are the cups, did we put the cups in the Amazon shop, Kev, that I was telling you that I ordered? They're in the box over there. I haven't even dug them out. That's how busy I've been. I'll have to have Kevin check and see. I don't know if it's in the Amazon shop yet.
Which ones?
the little duo cups that I bought for Underglaze storage, where you can put your Underglaze in them. They have a little top. They come in it. They have a tray made by Duo. It'll be in my orders. If you go and you can wade through all the orders I placed on Amazon.
I'll check this even
We'll-
after the broadcast, and if they're not in, I'll put them.
Okay, if they're not there, we'll put them in later. You were thinking those little takeout cups or paint by, exactly. Yes, the paint by number cups. It's like that. So the little tray I have is kind of like the paint by numbers. Exactly. Use Jello shooter cups, the ones with lids. All right. Yeah, that's a good idea too. And then if you don't need them all, you can make Jello shooters. You know, so you don't waste them. You want to replace your velvets with speedballs. I know. And I have some little jars of velvets. And I have to tell you, I've had them so long now that they've dried up to crumbs because I don't ever use them. I always grab my Amico. I grab my speedball, not the Amico. And I feel bad that I don't use them because I hate wasting things. But it's just, when you spend so much time making a piece, you want it to be right. So I'm going to take a little blue, mix it into my, see I just grabbed that royal purple and I'm mixing it into my pine. And I'm changing the tone a tiny bit. So it truly is like watercolor in that respect. Now look at the difference. It's still, believe it or not, it's still a greenish shade. It's more bluer. And so I'm going to go back over this pine green here and here because I decided to change up that green a bit. Felt like it was a little too much the same color as all the other flower petals, leaf petals. And it won't, this won't obscure the black lines, by the way, which is really important. And the black will pop. Yeah, no, it'll be completely popping. Let me show you again on the finished piece. And so you can see we're on camera too. Here on the finished piece, do you see the black lines? Yes, you do, because they're there. This is so, I'm going to sit so I can see it. So this is so light of an application of color that it does not obscure it at all. So you do not have to worry about it hiding your lines. If you do go too heavy, it will hide your lines, but we're not. We're going light. That's why we're watering down. And if you go too heavy, you can always go back and wipe it away. Keep a Q-tip handy and use the tip of your Q-tip and kind of scrub it out with that. Yeah.
So Cheryl wants to know if you'll fire this again before applying the clear glaze.
It's a great question. Thanks. Yeah, that's a really good question. I will not. Nope. I will go ahead and just straight fire it with clear glaze on top. So actually what I do is I dip the rim, and I glaze the inside and the rim with my Chun Blue. And then I will put my clear 2167 on the side. And you could use Speedball's clear. You want to try to make sure whatever clear you're using though is a zinc free. Zinc likes to eat away at underglaze and fade underglaze. And this is what we were talking about. Someone was asking me in, I think yesterday's Georgie's, and we were talking about, now I'm putting chartreuse back in to the mix because I want to change up that green a little bit. We were talking about the zinc and how I don't like zinc. And I don't like zinc in my clear glaze when I'm doing this because the zinc will eat away at all of my beautiful color and my beautiful underglaze. But other things I want zinc for, just not this. This is not the time for it. And so if you want to see this process, you know, you can watch my Modern Mishima tutorial we did during ClayShareCon a couple days ago. And you can actually see how we carve, how I carved into the surface here to get these black lines. And after that carving, the next step is to bisque fire and then add the color. And that's the part we're at now. And so we carved a piece, actually it's a piece right here to my right. This little guy right here is one we carved. And so I'm just going to continue with the leaves and get those taken care of. Let's get some more chartreuse mixed in. If I brush on clear glaze, you pounce it. So I don't pounce it, I just go for it, and I just brush once. I never brush back over, and I only put one layer on. Also, my clear glaze that I mix up, it is a dip and pour glaze, but it can be brushed as is on. Just make sure it's really thin. Honestly, for this piece, I'll probably dip to about here in clear. Because of the way this piece is made, it'll be easy to glaze that way. So I'm having lots and lots of greens happening on this. Fine lines. I don't clean fine lines, no. We only clean out, so we only use the Q-tip to clean out where I'm using green right now, and say I slipped and I got green inside my rose. I don't want green in my rose, so I'll take the Q-tip and I'll go in and I'll scrub the petal clean so that it's a clean surface so I don't have a green rose petal. But I never clean the black lines, ever. You don't have to, no. No, no, no. We don't do that. That'd be crazy. That's a little too OCD for me. I don't go that far. I go pretty far, but not there. So, oh my gosh, let's check it. Just keep turning and turning and turning and turning. All right, so we're back over here. I'll do these ones. So you can see I'm making different greens because I'm doing a lot of leaves, but I don't want it boring. I don't want the same green every time. We're gonna do we'll put some more blue back in. Make this bluer again. So I just added a little turquoise back in, and I think it's probably, let me just test it. It might be a little, nope, it's perfect. I thought it was going to be a little thick. It's good. So this is a little more of a turquoise. And then I think I might grab my black when I want to change the color again so that I turn this tone a little deeper, but it's the same it's the same cone, it's the same color, just a deeper tone or a deeper shade. And do you see? We're just filling it in. So if you like to color, this is 3D coloring because you'll be coloring your pots. And this right here, this vase was thrown in one piece on the wheel. I threw it. I would say 4 or 5 pounds of clay. I don't remember, honestly. I actually made this piece this past summer, last summer, now that we are in 2021, as a matter of fact. So this piece was thrown last summer on the wheel. I carved it sometime then, and it sat on the shelf for a little while, and I put it in a bisque. And then it sat on the shelf for a little while longer, and now we're finally doing the color on it. So it patiently waited for me. And I have about 10 to do right now. And I won't get them all done before we move studios, but I'm going to work on it and see how far I can get. You never know. So yeah, I'm just using plain water to thin these down. These underglazes are just thinned with plain water. So look what we're getting. Do you see the color starting to happen on here? Is that noticeable on the camera? I hope it's noticeable, that everybody can see. So all the leaves are done. Now we get to move on to the fun part. We do flowers. And you can do the flowers any color you want. It doesn't matter. This type of painting is really good therapy. Yes, Amy's 100% correct. I would agree. You know, I spend many hours doing this, and I still do it, so obviously I like it. And yeah, the carving is a little intense, but the actual painting is really lovely. And you can water stroke and coat. You can water Amico underglazes or Mako underglaze or anybody's underglaze you want to water down. So I think we're going to go with the red now. And I'm just dipping the tip into the red just a bit and mixing it into the center, and then I'm going to add some more water. The red is a really strong color. We don't need it to be thick. We need it to be really thin. If I'm going to sell a piece like this, I do sell these pieces. They, something like this would probably be about $175, I think, for this one. And my other ones I sell would be a few hundred for some of these. My smaller pieces, something like this vase right here would probably be about $95 for a smaller vase like that. My bird mugs, I'll show you my bird mugs. When I make these bird mugs, and I don't make them very much, but when I make these, I sell them for $125 a piece, and they sell out in about 3 seconds. They don't last, they're gone. I cannot make, and I cannot make enough pottery to meet demand. Okay, so we're gonna go with the red. We've watered that down. And we're just gonna go into this one right here. You love it because you feel like this is more predictable than glazing. Well, you know that the underglazes are stable. See how we have this beautiful watery effect? And I'm going to go back again on the edge with the same color, and that just darkens it a bit. And then we'll dip in, I'm going to dip in the orange and pull that into the red. We'll put a little orange on the very end. Just right here. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. You'll see it after it's fired. But so we have this depth happening in there. So would you want stronger colors? I do have Sgraffito. So what you would do is actually, you would paint the colors on when it was green and then carve the flowers out afterwards. And let's see, do I have a template or did I hand cut the edges of my color wheel plates? There's a class I have on Clayshare on how to make the color wheel plates. It's making a underglaze underglaze plate. I think it's called a speedball underglaze plate. What is that class, Kev? He's gonna go find it. So I'm getting some more red. We're gonna do this one right here. So I do have a class. No, I actually used a template that I do make my own templates, but that one is actually a store-bought cake board. What? Yep, it's just a cake board, that's all. So we're leaving a little white on that one. We're going for blue on this guy right here. This is going to be a purple flower. What's the benefit of zinc-free clear versus clear with zinc in it? So zinc can sometimes eat away at your underglazes. It really reacts strongly with other materials. So when you put it on something like this piece that I have here, you could apply it and it could eat away at all this beautiful underglazing I've just done to the surface. So all the work I've just done will then be gone and I would cry and you would cry with me and we'd have a little pity party. So I use a zinc-free clear when I'm doing work like this, but zinc in a glaze can do some really great things. So sometimes I like to use it to see how it interacts. But for this particular piece, I would not use zinc. Let's go to this one too. We're going to make this one a purpley blue. Actually, let's make this one a blue. Let's make it darker though, just a little deeper. Like a violet, I think, for this one. So you can have a lot of fun playing with color and shading and just seeing how they turn out. We'll leave that one alone. That one's going to be a warm. That'll be a warm. That's our cool. I guess we'll do this. I guess we'll do some on this one. The bird mugs. I know I haven't done a set of bird mugs in a while. It is March. I could potentially, no, I don't have time. I'm like, how can I get a bird mug made by this coming Thursday? I can't. I wish. So I hope that clarified why you might want to have a zinky glaze. Teresa's here watching and she says she loves this kind of painting. Me too. So I dipped into the turquoise and now I'm going into the royal purple, which is a little crazy to do that, but I did it just the same and it changed it up enough so that I have a new color, a new and exciting color. So we have a two-tone blue happening here, which is a really really fun piece, and that's kind of blue. A lot of blues in a row. Let's do something. What do we got? I want to do a different color. Here. What do we got? Carmine. That's a deep red. Ooh, soft pink is nice. Let's get some soft pink going. Now, soft pink, we'll just mix it up on the edge here, is exactly what it says it is. It's a really soft pink. It kind of just fades. It's beautiful, but we're going to use it here on the very edge of this red one here. And just follow around. All my lines will show once this is fired. You won't worry about it. We'll see every one of them. Do a little soft pink there, why not? Now over here, I want to go with the orange. Let's do orange. I'm just going to take a little bit of the orange that's up on my rim. That's just hanging out up there and get it wet. And we'll go ahead and I don't have time. You don't have time. There's never, Lisa's right. I never have enough time. I try. I always want more time. I try. I really do. I'm going to dip in a little, I'm taking the same orange and I'm just rubbing my brush against where the red is. Just because, it might be a little intense, I want to deepen the edge of that orange. Can the camera pick that up? Can you see how it deepens this edge? And I'm just pouncing. Sometimes I don't really even brush, and I don't want an even line. I'm just kind of scooching color around here. And so this flower, you can see we have some depth to it. We have all those different colors happening. That really changes it. This purpley one, let me get, I used this royal purple on it. Maybe I'll do a little more purple on it. Let's see, clean my brush out. And maybe I'll do just a second layer of the purple just on the edges. I really like to do the very edge a tiny bit darker. Because it changes up how the flower looks. It gives the flower some depth. So we have that happening. Let me just fix that right there. Oh, Wendy, thank you. Yeah, it's been a great week. You know, ClayShareCon's a big deal here. We do a lot for it, but it's worth it. We love every second of it. I think I'm going to put red on this one too. The red and blue flower. So you get to play, you know, there's no right or wrong with this. And I would start small, make a few little trinket dishes to start with, and then, you know, carve those. And you could do a stamp design. You could stamp it and then fill it with an underglaze too. You didn't wax. Oh, so that might be why, if you've been struggling, if you didn't wax, that makes a huge difference. So I have this color I love, and I'm going to get up and grab it. It's called Deep Sea, and I didn't grab it out yet. Nope, Sea Blue. Sorry, Deep Sea is the Amico glaze. It's hard to keep everything straight. So this is, I'm just adding water to my colors. I see there's some questions about that. So this is a really great sea blue color, and while I'm working, I like to keep this with me. Let me see, I'll show this over here, because this has all my colors full intensity, but I can see, you know, an idea of how they might look watered down. That's my color wheel. And I do have a second palette, and what I often will do when I'm doing a big day like of coloring a whole bunch of vases is I'll have a warm palette and a cool palette set up so that I can do both at the same time. And I'm just using the, I'm high tech here, I'm just using the rim of my palette to work on right now. How long will downtime be after surgery? Well, it depends who we ask. How long downtime? My understanding is someone told me 100 days full recovery, but I don't believe that for a second.
And apparently there is a developing plan for how that 100 days is going to be spent.
Oh no, well we will see. So I don't know. Oh, I want to do amethyst. I haven't done amethyst on anything yet. Let me mix that up. You didn't wait the day. Yeah, wait with your, once you wax your pieces, wait a day or two. Cover them really well with plastic, and let that wax really bond to the surface. Yeah. Got a question? Go ahead.
So the question Brigitte has is, where do you get the wax that you use for this technique?
The ceramic shop sells it. Mr. Mark's Wax On. Also, I get it from, what's the other place? Sheffield Pottery. I have to think for a minute. So this is the amethyst. I don't want to go too heavy with it. It's a brighter purple. And I'm using the lid as the palette for this color. You can use the lids to mix in if you want to. And the amethyst is really just going to become a background. I think I'm going to do another color on top. This one's really light, a little wishy-washy, sometimes by itself. So we'll put a darker color on top. And I do sometimes do overglaze or China painting. Yeah, but not for these, not for this particular one. How long have I been designing patterns in the rolling pins and transfers? Well, it's too funny. I went away to France back in 2015, 6 years ago, and while I was there, I did a bunch of sketches. And then I came back and I was talking to a gallery director, and I was showing him my drawings from France as ideas for future pots. Because I was at a ceramic residency. I was there making pottery. And so he was looking at the pottery drawings, and he took my notebook, and he's like, these are great. And I'm thinking he's talking about my pots. And he's talking about my drawings. And he's like, your drawings are fabulous. You should do a coloring book. And I was like, what? No. And so he kept hounding me every time I talked to him about it. So I took my drawings from France, and I turned them into a coloring book. I self-published it. I put it out there. And it was funny, an art agent saw my coloring book because his wife's best friend got a copy. And so this art agent calls me up and is like, hey, I saw your artwork, and I'm, pottery, right? And he's like, I love your drawings. I would love to set up a meeting for you to come in and talk to me about becoming one of our artists that we work with. And so I did. I went in and I met with him, and so this would have been back in 2016. And I did licensing work. My free time, I love saying that. In my free time, I would draw, and my illustrations are on everything internationally. You'll see all kinds of stuff I have done, but my name is not on it because it's licensed to companies like Michaels and Hobby Lobby and all kinds of craft stores and art stores. I don't get credit for those drawings. I just get a paycheck, which that's the deal. That's how it works. You don't get credit, you just get a paycheck. And so I was doing that for a while, and it's still really fun, and my artwork still gets licensed that way. But I had so many people want my drawings on a rolling pin, and I was trying to find somebody who could do it, but there really didn't seem to be a good way to do it. And Sharon Hoppy, out of the blue, decided to just take initiative, took one of my drawings, turned it into a rolling pin, and sent it to me. So my poppy design was the first one that she did, and I was so floored that she did that. So we made that available, and then I started doing pins. Goodness, was that 3 years ago? I started doing pins with her, and then, has it been 3? Well, Glacier 4th anniversary will be this June, and I did rolling pins starting, was it not the first year, the second October after. So yeah, 2018. So yeah, it'll be 3 years. And then I started doing transfers because people wanted that too and everything. So, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how things happen, right? The stories behind things, and so I don't really do much art drawing licensing work anymore because I don't have time. I really don't have time to do everything. I can't. And so I had to cut back somewhere, and the only place I could afford with, to cut back and that I wanted to cut back is the work that gets licensed. So when you get my designs from other companies, that my name is on it. Those are companies like Sambao or Sharon Hoppy Designs. And then my glazes at Clayscapes. So we're almost done. We're getting close to the end. We have to do the little tiny flowers that are hiding in here. And I really think doing them in like color we have lots of. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can do them in all different colors. So maybe we'll do reds and pinks and melons and just see how it goes. So did the template for the FlexiBat handle get uploaded yet? We are waiting for that.
Yeah,
So we do not have it yet. When they get it to us, we will put that up for you all. So I'm gonna make a few red. We'll do a few red, do a few orange down here, play with color a little bit with the tiny flowers. Maybe a little orangey, slightly more orange. So this little field of them I'm doing over on this side's orange. Maybe where there's a lot of red on the other side of the pot, I'll do them in blue. These tiny little cute flowers. They're just a little cutie. I know if I wrote out everything I've done a lot. And every once in a while I think about writing out my bio, but I don't have time for that either. I'm too busy to do a bio. To get it all down. Let's move into little purples. Let's put some purples in here. That's fun. Got some red flowers transitioning into some purpley flowers. Why not, right? And down here we can transition to more orange. So where are we on time? We go till 2:45?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna just make 2:45, everyone. I'm really trying to get this pot done. Really trying. Over here we'll go more in the amethyst, I think. Just a little bit here. And then some of the blue. And we'll put some blue here. I got 1 minute. Anytime I have a sale, it crashes the site. No, you're not wrong. Every time I do have a sale, it crashes. I don't have anything available right now. It's very difficult for me to sell my work and not destroy the internet. I try. I actually have a pseudonym pottery studio that I don't tell people I sell my pottery as. Some people know. My Clayshare members know. Because it's impossible. All right. So it's basically done. The only thing left that I have to do is the little, believe it or not, I got to do the bottom. I do the flowers on the bottom. And then these little dots, I do them as bright red. So I'm going thicker. I'm going to make these dots really red. They'll pop out. And I'm just going to use the tip. I won't forget the bottom. I never would forget the bottom. Couldn't do that. That would be horrible. It would be a crying shame. And so while I'm finishing this up, I'll tell you all what's happening next. We have got a little pottery tool demo coming up with Jeff from GR Pottery Forms. Jeff has been with us every day of Clayshare Con. He is amazing. You know, Jeff has his own Facebook page where he does live broadcasts as well. So you can always check out what Jeff's up to and all of his pieces and things that he has in his forms. So this has a few things like, here's an area that I'm just going to put some color in. And I think, oop, there's a red spot. Did you see it? I saw it. I have to go back and get it. Can't leave any red spots unredded. Well, I'm going to hopefully put this in the glaze kiln. Let's clean that up. Hopefully this one will go, I mean, all I have to do is glaze the inside and the outside with a clear in my chun. So that's pretty fast work. So I can probably get this one in the next firing. You can see it. Let's quickly do the bottom. Leaves, pine green, let's do it. Too heavy. Trying to rush, make a mess. Look at that. Did great until the end. And then it's like, finish, Jess.
You can take an extra minute because Jeff's a pro. We can get him into the production flow fast.
Okay, Jeff's a pro. Kevin's not wrong. Jeff is a pro. And I want to finish this, and I don't want to rush it. So if you ever have any questions or anything, you can always email me or message me. I will warn you, I am so backlogged with emails and messages right now. It's very difficult. I get hundreds every day on all my social media and just my email account. So I try to keep up with it, but some people slip through the cracks. If you've ever messaged me or emailed me in the past and I've missed it, just reach out again, because sometimes it's hard when you have thousands of people contacting you to get back to them. It's a lot. And I don't have anybody else handling that for me. Maybe one day, but currently not. So let's check. I know there's a spot, and I got to find it. There's a uncolored spot, and I have to find it. It's going to make me crazy. I remember seeing it when I was turning it to do a red. There it is. It's right there. You probably didn't even notice it, but it's right here. Right there. So I'll fill that in with color. And that's it. So, woohoo! Only an hour, just about an hour to glaze this piece. So here it is in the unglazed form. The color is going to shift a little bit as it fires. It will become more, believe it or not, translucent, and you'll get a finish kind of like these here. Woohoo! And so the color to water ratio does depend. It's very much a watery. It's between 90% water to 10% color to a 50-50. It's in that range. Really, it's by eye and practicing, you'll get there. You know, it's a really fun technique. So here we have one, the no color versus color. You can really see the difference when you put a uncolored piece up to it compared to it. You can really tell. So I'm excited to see how it turns out. And I hope you all tune in when we have that kiln opening. I might do that on Wednesday. I think so. And all right, so let's get going so we can get Jeff on in. And then I'll be back at 4:15. So 3 o'clock, we'll be back with Jeff. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.